Basics, we're going to take a look at a couple different ways to make different parts. Going to look at some of our other sketching tools and learn a couple different ways to make lines, a couple different ways to make rectangles, and look at our circle tools. So first of all, we're going to be making this tuning fork. We're going to start at the origin, make a rectangle that's centered on the origin, and then we'll draw this shape. Come back down again, and then we'll make sure that everything on the right side is equal to everything on the left side. So let's get started with the sketching plane. Now, you could use lines to make a rectangle. You could use the 2-point rectangle, but what we want is something that grows from the center, grows sideways or up and down. So instead of choosing this one, we're going to click on Create, come down to the rectangle. Notice there's 3 different rectangle tools. This is the one we've been using. But the center rectangle, if we click on that and we click at the origin, notice that it grows or shrinks, but keeps everything symmetric about the origin. So I'm going to come up here and make my rectangle. Then I want to put a circle at the bottom of the rectangle. And here we're going to take a look at some of the other tools we have for circle also. This is the one we've been using. But if we click on circle and come down to circle, we have been doing the center diameter. But we could also do a 2-point circle, a 3-point circle, a circle tangent to 2 different lines or tangent to 3 different lines. So there's a number of different ways that we can do the circle. We're going to do the one we've been doing because we can pick up the very center of that circle and then come over to the edge. And so these are slightly different constraints that we see here. Um, but another way we could make that exact same circle, if we undo that, is we could have chosen circle, 2-point circle, and we could make sure that the point right here and right there are both included. That's going to be the exact same circle. You can see if I click on this edge here and drag it, the circle is going to get bigger and smaller. If I click on one point here, the circle is going to stay touching the edge. And that would be the same if I had chosen the center and an edge. So we have a couple different options to make that circle. All right, then we're going to go back up to the top and we're going to draw basically from the top over to the side, up and over. And then we'll continue making the fork. So this time we're going to choose line. Now notice here something we haven't really pointed out is that if you click and then you drag, you can make circles. So I'm going to start my line. I'm going to start here, come over in this direction. I'm going to go up. I'm going to go over. And then when I come down, I'm going to click and I'm going to drag instead of just clicking. So I'm going to click and then drag and notice it's making a circle. I'm going to let go here and then go up, over, down, back to where I started. It makes a nice profile, but it looks pretty goofy. So I want to constrain a few things. One, I'm going to hit escape, make sure I'm out of all my uh, commands. I want the center of the circle and the origin to be vertical to each other, so that's going to help me with keeping things symmetric. And then I'd like it to be equal between this line at the top and that line there. And then I also want this line and this line to be the same. And let's see, now it looks like things are kind of moving together. As I move one thing, the other things stay the same. I also want the top of the fork to be the same as the handle here. So I'm going to do that equal. Oops, let me undo that because I had something selected. Again, make sure you hit escape a few times, then equal between the top of the fork and the handle. All right, and I think I'll make this just a little bit shorter. So that looks like a pretty cool tuning fork. And I think that goes all the way through all of all the steps. All right. The other thing I'd like you to do before you extrude this, double check these things. Make sure that you see these construction lines going down the middle of the rectangle. Also, make sure that if you click on things, everything stays connected. So if you click on like this point, the whole thing should grow and shrink together. Those should all work. Go ahead and take your screenshot and then add a couple dimensions. I'd like the fork to be 150. And then I'm going to add another dimension between the top of the handle and the top of the tuning fork. I'd like that also to be 150. And I'm going to add another equal constraint between this side and that side. And then let's add another dimension between the top of the fork and the center of the circle and make that 50. All right, that looks pretty good. So you can finish that sketch and you can extrude it like that.